Welcome back. Wayne King here with 717 Throttle Therapy. And all right, so we rented motorcycles in Vegas, and I did a video on the ride we had done on Saturday. But Sunday morning, we left Luxor, the casino here in Vegas, and decided to head out to Valley of Fire and also Lake Mead recreational area. So again, I was on a FJ1300, the Yamaha, and my wife was on a Yamaha Bolt. And before we headed out, we stopped at Red Rock Harley Davidson. And this is the thing that I love about YouTube. You get to, or social media, I got to know of Justin, and I finally got to meet him because I was following some of his adventures and stuff, and got to meet him. He works at Red Rock Harley Davidson, and his YouTube channel is The Way We Roam. So go check his channel out too. He has a Pan America, and so that's kind of how I had gotten to know him, or started following him, rather. So we had been on some of the same Facebook pages and stuff, and so I was like, hey, I want to get to meet this guy. So I was able to catch up with him. He did lead a ride out of Red Rock on the Sunday morning, so we just got to chat briefly. But then we headed out to Lake Mead National Recreational Area, and some beautiful riding. I mean, just great. So as we're riding, I'll do a little review on the Yamaha FJR1300, and I'll talk about the Yamaha Bolt a little bit too. But you do hear some wind noise here with the way I have my mic set up. But here's a little review.
So to do a little review on this bike, this is a 2023 Yamaha FJR1300. It is a fun bike. I'll just start off by saying that. It's a great bike. Now, this is a sport touring bike, so it definitely has that sportier feel, and handles great in the twisties. Power, it's got plenty of power. I think it's 140 horsepower, and it's like 649 pounds, so it's not a real heavy bike. And it does have the sport or touring mode. Sport mode, you can definitely tell a big difference. I mean, sport mode, this thing goes. Touring mode, plenty of power in touring mode too, but you can tell a difference between the two. Has a couple different settings for the suspension. Now, this front suspension, even on the softest setting, personally, I felt that it's a little stiff. And it makes sense. It's a sport touring bike. So, it's a little stiffer to give you better handling in the twisties. Not a big deal. I mean, I'm accustomed to that because I prefer that. But you do tend to feel, all the little bumps and inconsistencies in the road. But not a big deal at all. Power is great. Clutch, I really like the clutch. The friction zone is nice, and I can easily use 2 fingers on this clutch. It's not a big deal at all. So the clutch is great. Power delivery is nice and smooth. It's a shaft drive, so power delivery is real nice and smooth. Transmission's nice, shift's nice. It is a 6-speed, and obviously, as with anything, there's a couple of things that I don't care for. The first thing would be the handlebar position and my seating position. And this is just me because of the way I'm accustomed to riding and the type of riding that I enjoy doing. I enjoy touring. I enjoy something that's comfortable out on the highway for 5-6 days in a row or more. And this bike, for me, it would be a little tough to do. I'd have to bring my bars up, and I haven't researched anything as far as aftermarket stuff or even what Yamaha offers, how I do that. but that's one of the things I would need to do. And another one of the things is the seat. I'd have to do something with the seat. 65, 70 miles, and I'm ready to take a break on this bike. So that's just a couple of things. But if you're looking for a sport touring bike, man, I would definitely put this one on the list. It is a fun bike. And power, I mean, man, like I said earlier, power is not an issue with this bike. You twist the throttle and you're going to get to where you want to go. And I'm talking about the bike as we are going through some of the most beautiful scenery on the planet. I mean, it is nice through here. But I keep giving you a few things with the bike. Would it be a bike that I would consider owning right now, or would it be one I'd like to add to my stable? It wouldn't be at the top of the list, but it'd be in probably the top 5. It'd probably be right at that 4 or 5 mark, but there's a couple of other bikes that I prefer over this one, just because of the type of riding that I do. So, now my wife is on a Yamaha Bolt, and I forget the year. I'm not positive on the year on that, but I did have a chance to ride that one a little bit too. And I tell you, that's a fun bike too. Definitely very different bike than what I'm on. It's more of a well, it's a cruiser style more or less, but it feels more like maybe the Harley Sportster or something in that line. But she's been enjoying it. She's been doing great on it, and she's had no problem. I mean, yesterday when we were doing some of the two-way miles and two-way miles, 2-lane road miles, and straight roads, she didn't complain. She was ready to keep going. So I told her this morning, I feel like that seat is a little more comfortable than the seat on the FJR here, but I think that's because of the seating position is a little more what I like and a little more what I'm accustomed to. So just a few thoughts on these two bikes. Both great bikes.
Now as we're riding, I mean, you can tell the weather is very nice. I love this type of weather for riding. Mid 50s. Actually, 50 degrees to 60, that's ideal for me. And we did make a few stops as we rode through Lake Mead National Recreation Area. And you can do some hiking if you want. There were people that were pulled over. We kept moving through here. That wasn't our goal. We wanted to get up to Overton, Nevada. And from there, we also wanted to visit the Valley of Fire. So we kept it moving through here, but we did stop a couple of places and, just took some pictures. If you want to get a bunch of pictures, you could stop every 15 minutes, and get different scenery. But we got up to Overton, we got some fuel, and then we stopped at Chris Angel's restaurant and filled up our stomachs, got a bite to eat. And this sandwich was bigger than I anticipated, that's for sure. But this was a great little restaurant, great place to get something to eat. After we ate and took a little bit of a break, we headed towards the Valley of Fire. Now, the Valley of Fire is a state park, and I tell you, you could spend all day there easily if you wanted to. Now, we kind of kept it moving. There was a few places I was tempted to stop, but what was happening is we saw clouds moving in on the south side and clouds on the north side, and we were like, well, are we going to get dumped on with rain, or what's going to happen here? So we decided to just keep moving, and for the most part, we did avoid most of the rain. We had a little bit of, a few sprinkles, but we pretty much cruised through it. But it is a beautiful area. It's one of those areas that most likely we'll end up going back to sometime. And, maybe doing some hiking and taking a little bit more time, because you really could spend pretty much all day there. Now, a fee to go through there also, it was $10. Not a big deal. It was $10 per bike, but it was well worth it. And like I said earlier, I would definitely do it again. So after we rode through the Valley of Fire, we headed back towards Vegas and back to Eaglerider to return the bikes. So in all, overall, we did about 460 miles in those 2 days, and we had a great time. So thanks for watching, and over and out. Until the next video.